Man, I can hear that. I can hear that chainsaw, Jojo. I can hear it.
Chainsaw Tim Duggan and
mean-
the dude that's sitting in the office next to him. I'm mesmerized. I know we talked about it a little bit ago. These guys have like 20-foot cutting poles. They're taking branches off that are like 100 pounds each, and they're just smashing all around. I'm like, wow, that's incredible.
It's like tis the season for monsoons. I don't even know why they're cutting the branches. Well, for I guess anyone. By the way, everyone, welcome to another edition of Tech Tuesday. Me and Jojo are your hosts. We tear down sites, not for fun, but to all right, well, we do it for fun. Today, we will have a lovely website. Let me try to get it real quick and put it in. Oh, we've got Otterbox.
You know we do.
You know, I never liked Otterbox. It was personal preference.
What?
Yeah, I didn't like it because these seem too big.
I love it.
I've got.
This is like my third. I love like the portfolio when you put the credit cards. I love it.
See, I have Spigen or Spigen or Spigin. I don't know. I like this one because it's got a little kickstand on it and it's slim. I like the slimness. Although I've broken 2 phones with these types of things on here, so I guess I'm not doing too good. Batting average so low. Well, anyways, but welcome everyone. Like I said, it's Tech Tuesday. Me and Joe for Digital Marketers Organization. If you haven't joined our community, now's the time. Just click on the link below or visit digitalmarketers.org and join 2,000 plus other digital marketers around the world. We're here to try to educate and try to get everyone up to snuff. We're obviously we're experts. No,
I hope so at this point.
I know it's like we've been in this industry for so long. Either I'm an expert or I just need to start farming. Well, perhaps be a landscaper and get those trees chopped.
It's the only way you're going to impress me at this point.
Well, I just get killed by one of those branches falling down.
Yeah, I think I would.
It's over. It's over. Well, there's some interesting stuff that we can talk about with Otterbox. I guess first and foremost, let's get into some of my stuff. So I kill all these emails that are coming in. It's like Monday morning all over again. So, we typically use Sistrix over here to try to figure out and determine what's going on with a website and their history. If you're unfamiliar with Sistrix, it's basically, amongst other things, a really interesting way to look at SEO visibility over time. There's other tools that do it. I know that Search Metrics does it, Marcus and crew. And then I'm pretty sure that there's some other tools, maybe Conductor and some other ones that use it as well. But we're using Sistrix today. It's a pretty cool tool. So as you can see, things started to get no bueno around 2015. Not looking like a good last couple of years for them, at least when it comes to SEO. I think we're going to dig in to find out why.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I figure that's what people would like us to do.
You think so? All right, fine. We can do that. Let's take a look at their homepage real quick. The thing that sticks out to me the most out of all of this is their diversification now into coolers. I was completely unaware that Otterbox wanted to get into coolers. So it's interesting. Let's see what their title tag says. Otterbox cases, accessories, and outdoor gear. So it looks like they're starting to get into the great outdoors with their products. I don't know. I guess if they're making the plastic already, why not just transform it into something else? Seems pretty logical. Let's see what they have for no main page up here. Let's see what they have. Apple cases. Probably should use iPhone cases since it's the only phone that Apple makes. Pretty interesting. Well, we ran. Oh, look at this. The typical. Lower.
That's going to come up a lot for me.
Is it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is so datedly old. I mean, maybe it still works a little bit, but I have such a problem with this, mainly because there's just so much in here. I mean, these guys aren't doing too terribly much, but you can definitely tell that there's there's a lot of iPhone stuff in here. Let's see if that's their first deal. Yeah, so they also have it first in the navigation. So if you have it all up here, I mean, this is a lot in the navigation too, by the way. This is crazy. More devices. Is there a flyout? There actually is a flyout in the menu. Interesting. Well, it looks like they've got some of their stuff together. Let's see what they have for content. Not a whole lot. Yeah,
which is kind of interesting, right? Because they actually own the product. They're not just like a reseller of it. Otterbox is creating these specific cases. So they could do a lot more to it. They could add some UGC videos on like using the product. Because if you find the same products on Amazon, they provide more content there. So it's intriguing that is their strategy to try to sell more through their third-party marketplaces?
Yeah, see, and here's what's funny too. This is such a trap. I don't want to call it a trap. It's an unfortunate series of events, right? So these companies, Otterbox, they get sold on some of these reviews, right? Or installing it, I should say. And this happens to be Bizarre Voice. Bizarre Voice is super expensive, like stupidly expensive.
Oh, I'm familiar with them.
It's a great service. I love the service. And I know for a fact that these reviews can be SEO friendly. However, just looking at the source code, I grabbed a snippet of this UGC. It's not in here. So they went through all of the trouble to put this stuff in here, which I'm sure helps with conversions on some level. But why not capitalize on the SEO value from all of the user-generated content? It makes no sense to me why you would actually go through this. It's probably like a script or something to add. It would be ridiculously easy to do this, especially knowing that they do make it SEO friendly. So
yeah, I mean, they could use even something simpler like what is it? Mike Blumenthal's 5-star. I can't remember what he ranked it to.
Get 5 stars, but I think it's something different now.
Yeah, but I mean that constantly because those were always SEO friendly. Like,
right.
Same thing. It's a simple deploy.
Oh, I don't know what it's called again. We'll get out of that. So here's what we know. They've got the title tag. Okay. Very low content levels, ton of accessories. You may also like just in your face. And then they're hiding the reviews behind a tab, which the reviews are not SEO friendly. Let's see if their Let's see if their FAQs are friendly as well. Seriously, I'm gonna murder this thing. Let's view. Oops, I already had it up there. Let's try this. Nope, same thing. So all of the stuff that's in here, I mean, I would assume that the technology is visible. Nope, the whole thing. That whole thing. This whole thing is completely invisible. What a joke. I wonder if that's the reason. Well, you know what would be really interesting. I'll let you take over for a minute. I'm going to go toss this into Bartozz's tool and see if maybe there's a way that we can see what this looks like without, with JavaScript.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen.
Share it.
Promote it.
I'll promote it once I see it. Oh, there it is.
All right, cool. The very first thing we could do is the easy stuff, right? So just looking at the page because it did seem it was lagging a little bit. Some of the easiest wins here is they have 3.5 seconds worth of just unused JavaScript, just legacy stuff. Just take it out or just at least remove it from the index. They're also doing some blocking, which is almost a second's worth of that. Some third-party code is slowing it down a little. I mean, I'd have to take a deeper look at this to see if what could be pulled in. Yeah, some of these I know that you can grab in, like things like Hotjar, maybe not. The thing that I really wanted to discuss, though, let's see here. Make sure that is working. Okay, so I plugged it into Market Brew, and when I was doing this, is like, you know what? I I already did some quick checks, and obviously they're very, very dominant when it comes to their branded phrases, as you would expect. So it's like, okay, well, I want to get a better understanding. What else are they trying to sell? And so you already noticed, like, you didn't, like, what are they doing in coolers? Well, it's like the third category on their index page within the title. I was like, okay, well, how are they doing with respect to outdoor gear? And it's not going to surprise you a whole lot that they're not doing that well on outdoor gear. I'm like, okay, well, let's take a quick dive into market brew to see, like, where are they falling down. It has nothing to do with the links coming in. They're doing great with links, and even in terms of the external links, there's more they could potentially be doing with link flow, and I'll get to that in a second. But the semantic focus, they don't mention it hardly anywhere on the site that they're doing outdoor gear. They have some imagery. And I don't think I looked in the source code to see, like, they even using proper alt, to see if they're describing it properly. But they're not doing much. I would say that they need to have a better category section. But then I really want to talk about this. The site is exceptionally flat, where the page that's linked to the most, in terms of the overall link equity being funneled, is the English version support page. Is that what you want to rank the most? If not, pull it back. So I started thinking, well, where were they pulled back? They got so many products. They got all these different language breakouts, all these different, Apple, Galaxy, et cetera, et cetera. I started channeling Luke McCarthy a little bit. I'm like, well, okay, they obviously probably still want to rank for things like iPhone 7 case, because there's still going to be a market for that. Mm-hmm. Then I pulled up Ahrefs, because I was like, well, if they're doing that, like, how are they doing now? What's the relative traffic that's coming in with them? Is there any room? And I could see a huge area. The first thing that I would do is I would categorize current products, and then products are kind of already been sunsetted. And then what I'd start to do is I'd take the stuff that's already been sunsetted out of the damn footer, just to pull it out of the main navigation. Yeah. I'd go so far as to only allow it to be linkable from within the category section. I'd try to really reduce the amount of flow that you're throwing into products that are no longer current. Doing that, though, the products are still going to rank, because they're trying to rank for something like an iPhone 7 case. There's so little going against it, because the Otterbox is such a popular case. They're still going to end up ranking for it, even if they pull back 70% of the overall flow that they're throwing at that particular page. So they could segment out current versus old, and they could make it discoverable simply through sitemaps, as well as the main category when someone's trying to filter into iPhone 7. Allow that to occur. But all the other navigation that you're sharing, you shouldn't be treating the index page the same way that you're treating the Galaxy S8. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah,
so I think just doing that, they'll improve.
I agree with you. I mean, just looking at the navigation up top, like, why would you have all of these phones in here? Like, it just doesn't. It's so antiquated. Like, just put Apple, Samsung, and then your other devices, like, and then get rid of all these pop-outs. It's insane. It's absolutely insane, this menu.
I mean, like, it is obvious that they do have some knowledgeable SEO working on the site, because, like, the infrastructure itself is relatively clean. As stuff's breaking, they're getting it addressed pretty clearly, and they have a good amount of links coming in, obviously, due to the just how dominant the brand is in its relative niche. The anchors are all great looking, because it's very diversified, what you would expect. They need to segment out a section for the outdoor gear and push really hard in the content there if they want to rank for it. Otherwise, I don't even know that they should mention the products on the index page, because the people coming in there, that's not why they're in there.
Here's a breakout of just what their site looks like. It looks really nice, and it's not deep or convoluted looking either. It's actually done fairly well as far as architecture is concerned. But
I just think they need to pull some of that stuff out and drop it in there. So, like, maybe part of the issue is too, where it's a difference in terms of the robots, right? Where you you still have all these empty nodes, even if they're playing no follow games, and maybe that's why it's looking nice there. You know, some crawlers are going to respect that and say, okay, yeah, I'm not going to follow this for the equity, but you're still creating all these empty nodes. Versus, you know, is it being truly blocked from the value passing through it? Like that, it's a different conversation to have. Where I think if I was on their side, I would do a quick test. I'd say, okay, well, I'm gonna block these old products from actually getting juice. Maybe, I mean, I wouldn't remove them because I'm sure that they are getting some sales, and you know, take a look at the e-com data. Since they own it all, they could probably see is there sales coming in through the third-party marketplaces too. But it seems kind of bloated. I'd really want to direct that back into the products that actually matter, and maybe stretch a little bit. You know, why not try to rank for competitor cases? You know, they just have the Otterbox. Why not they're talking about comparisons like this is a 5-star case versus that one, which is a 2-star. Here's why this is better. Do the videos, do the UGC. There's images all over the net on how these products are being used.
Yeah.
They can use influencers for that easily.
This is great. I love this site.
So I'll stop sharing mine. You can pop yours in.
Okay. That's fine. I'm just like looking at stuff. These guys, oh, you gotta love them. I was looking at like, oh, I wonder what they have. Oh, they got rid of it. This is great. Okay, so you know, when we were going through the directories, I saw that it says /ENUS. So I was like, oh, cool, they're international. Where's all that stuff at? It's, you know, up here, typical location. These poor guys, they did all CCTLDs. So like China is .asia, so it's Otterbox.asia. Korea is Otterbox.Kr. So you've got all of that mess going on, right? But then look, so the little boxes that you see up here, I've got a no follow plugin or whatever, so you can see it. They no followed all of this. Like, bro, that's free equity, man. You want to go rank in Korea super easily? Just unfollow those links or refollow. I don't know.
That's interesting. I wonder when they made that change and why they did it. Then there's probably some thesis behind it.
I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't.
They need to call Aleda immediately. Hey, we're screwing up our international strategy. Click, fixed.
Well, and you know what's interesting too is like, so look at this. So I go to Otterbox.asia, right? Well, then all of a sudden, like this whole thing disappears. Like it changed the whole thing.
Interesting.
So I mean, obviously it's another site. Maybe they have. Let me go to another one.
They might have competing logic going on too.
Let me go over to Japan. Okay, so that is in Japanese, which is good. But don't you think that it's funny that I go over to the Chinese one and it goes into English? That doesn't.
Well, I wonder if maybe they're also looking at the IP at the same time. That's what I meant by the competing logic, where they might have some logic set up for how they want to treat the TLDs, but then they're treating the user differently when they come into those TLDs.
Yeah. They do have hreflang installed, so that's good. I've never seen this. Have you ever seen this? X default?
What are you looking at?
So if you look at the shared screen, line 16 in this code is hreflang X default. I don't think I've ever seen that. I mean, I know the ENUS one, which is right here, but I've never seen X default. Interesting. I'm not sure if that's logical or not, but if someone has experience with that and you're on.
I mean, I'm just looking at Google support there, and it's just to pull up the localized version. So maybe that's why you're seeing it. You're seeing it because you are local to the U.S.
Yeah, but I would just, well, okay. Well, whatever.
So I think if you popped through a VPN in another country, maybe like go to Spain, would it pull up the Spanish version of it, even though you're looking at China?
Well, I mean, I can definitely go over here. Well, I have to go back because Lord knows, why would you ever have that way to get back? Where is Mexico? Do they have Mexico?
What? I don't know.
This country selection too is so weird. Like I get the Asia stuff because Asian market with handheld devices and stuff. I totally understand that, but like Sri Lanka and like some of these other ones, I don't get it. Maybe there was a reason for them to choose it. I'll go
Hey, so did Sitebulb throw as a hint that they need to be taking a look at the Ahref?
I didn't see it in there, but
Because I know that it catches X default now, and it wants to know why it's marked as an insight. And there's a nice support page on Sitebulb about why they do what they do.
Well,
I don't know. I never want to trash because they're clearly doing some things right, and so there may have been a thesis behind why they did what they did. I think the obvious stuff, though, is they can certainly clean up the speed. They could absolutely narrow down the equity that they're funneling around the site. And then as far as the outdoor, maybe that's just the CEO wants to have it, and so the CEO puts it on there. I mean, I've certainly run into that problem before. Like, well, I want this vaping suitcase on here. You don't sell one. Yeah, but I want to devote 70% of all the pixels. All right. Well, good luck to you.
Yeah, it never surprises me. You know what I do have here is I can show you. So I ran Otterbox on Bartozz's tool, and indeed it does show that there is some differences. Obviously, these phones are missing when JavaScript is disabled, and then I don't know what this stuff is down here, but you can see that everything that was like under these FAQ things, technology and reviews, that seems to be disabled as well. So that must be just all one big giant JavaScript for them, is that entire section. Yeah, as far as what we got with Sitebulb, I mean, it is interesting. Most of the pages for the architecture, like I said, seems to be fairly decent. They scored a 77, which isn't very high. And it does go through a lot of stuff, missing title tags. What was some of the, there was some in the high that were really bad too. Broken internal URLs. There's a little bit of cleanup, I think, from this perspective, but I would almost gather that these things are insignificant in comparison to the overarching like site itself. I think that where did I put it? I think that where is it? Citrix thing. They did something to themselves sometime around the 1st of 2015. I'm almost positive. To see something go that far down doesn't make sense unless they did that to themselves. It'd be great if we could actually find someone over there and be like, hey, was there a redesign or something in 2015 that you guys did? Oh, you're muted, Jojo.
I was saving you from the landscapers, and I forgot because I'm an old man and I'm forgetful. But no, that'd be a fun part too, to have someone come on and do that. So for anyone that's listening, if you know someone that's on the SEO team of Otterbox that wants to come on and explain, you know, where they're currently at and what they're looking to do in the future, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Did we do a speed test? Did you look at their site?
Yeah, I did the speed test. So they had like the 3.5 seconds worth of unused JavaScript, another second or so, or a little under a second of render blocking. And then there was some third-party stuff that it was trying to pull that was choking on. They have some fairly large images that they're throwing up, which you expect because it's a product site, and so they're going to have real detailed imagery. There might be some ways to make that a little bit more efficient in the CDN. We'd have to dig on that.
Let's see if we can go in here. Whoa. Fully loaded at 18.5.
Yeah, and so that's where, like, you know, doing some of the lazy loading is helpful to them. I think they are doing some of that, but there's some that just does not need to be there at all.
You know, I give Neil Patel a lot of shit for,
as one should,
probably really good reasons, but he really did do a good job on one thing that I use all the time. And if you guys are listening, this is probably the only thing that you can use from Neil Patel. The rest of it is questionable at best. But there's this one infographic that he did a long time ago. Here it is. So it's how load time affects your bottom line. And this data was gathered from Akamai and one other source. He quotes it in here. Gomez. So I think the data is real. And if it is real, it's crazy because it is almost insane to think that load time could actually damage conversions as bad as the data shows. So it's like for every second of load time, I think past like 3 seconds, you lose like 40% of your traffic, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon put out a short study on what they found, and they were seeing gains in conversions just based on milliseconds. So it's been studied in depth, and it keeps showing like a faster site is almost always a better site. Period.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think we're all in the wheelhouse of yes, absolutely. But I mean, is anyone even looking at this? That's what's so crazy. That's a large amount of load time. Like even if you cut that in half, that's still a large amount of load time.
It depends. Like what are the politics of this situation? I mean, does design have a huge, say in what's on there? Do they fight when things are like, oh, well, if someone puts us in like a 90-inch monitor, they're not going to be able to see it crystal clear? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, again, like you just look at the imagery. It's beautiful imagery. Yeah. I mean, on the product shots. So I think they're extremely design focused.
Yeah, all these videos are JavaScript, so.
You could say form over function.
Well, I mean, at what point is this important? I guess this is the question of the day for, I don't know, the CEO or upper management for Otterbox. But, the question is, are we selling more products online through our website, or are we selling more through our distributors, Amazon, Best Walmart, Buy, whatever? Yeah. Where are we making these sales? And, does our website even matter? Is this just a beautiful brochure? Is this just something that people look at and, oh, Otterbox, okay, cool, whatever? Or is this more important? And quite honestly, if it was my business, if I owned Otterbox, first of all, I'd have a boat and a couple nice cars.
Thank you for illuminating us on that.
I just want to make sure that the case money is going useful. No, I was going to say, I would want to be in control of where I sell my product. If Amazon goes down, what happens to my business? If Best Buy goes out of business, how does that affect me? No, not all of them are going to fail, but I would absolutely invest. I mean, how much money do you like in the totality of things? How much would it be to flip this website completely around? $50,000, $100,000. I mean, it's not that much. I don't think that.
Well, we didn't see what the carts and everything are built in, did we?
No, I don't think so. But I'm just saying the way that this looks right now, I think that you could replicate this on a different,
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah.
Platform or whatever. I think that you could do that for $100,000, maybe $200,000. I mean, it's definitely less than $1 million, right?
Yeah, way less.
So, if I can get 18 seconds down to 2 seconds and I can sell 10 times the amount of product, like why wouldn't I want to build? This is mine. I should build this up to meet the demands of people. So it is really interesting. I know that we also have a question from Robin. She's asking, with the potential logistic issues Amazon is facing this year, brands really need to have plans B, C, and D.
Yeah,
absolutely. Totally. That's exactly what we're talking about.
I know that I want to say the first Otterbox I ever bought was at the Sprint store because it was right there, and they're like, "Hey, this new phone you bought, it's going to die unless you put it in the case." Okay, but then all the follow-up purchases have been like the extreme third-party market. It's been Facebook. So
yeah,
I think maybe they do have concurrent plans where they have point of sale. So you're buying the phone and then you're getting upsold the case right there at whatever margin.
Right.
The margins they get at like Amazon and Walmart are going to be a lot lower probably because they're discount retailers. Then they have direct through Otterbox.com. So maybe they're okay with it being a brochure site.
Well, that's the only thing that I can think of. They have to be okay with that. You know, something, I guess, flashy in their eyes, big pictures, lots of, you know, videos, et cetera. I mean, I could see that happening. All of these sites that they have that are in these different countries are the same website. So they have the one-off, which is the US one, or I guess the default one.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got this other site. So I wonder if that's managed and maintained by someone else, or if that's done by the Otterbox team.
Again, the only one who knows to have someone on them.
We got to get them.
Just reach out. All three people watching this right now.
Well, I do have one bit of suggestion, I guess, for Otterbox, which is you guys need to get rid of the CCTLDs and bring everything under one roof. I know that sounds like a ridiculous thing because they set it all up and it was probably a huge pain in the ass.
Oh.
But they need to put it all under roof.
Like, let me do a who is. Which one would we look at? How about Otterbox Kr?
Yeah, they had that one.
All right. I am very curious here. Let's see what happens. Yes, I'm not a robot. TLD not supported. Thanks a lot, ICANN. Okay. How about .asia?
.asia may not be in there either.
It pulled up. All right, so it was created in 2011. What I was curious about is, did they create these out right before that 2015? And maybe that's part of the flip where they just, you know, cut their legs off despite their face.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's hard to say that they did it a couple years before that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think, I mean, when I was at GoDaddy, so we opened up the other markets and really like nothing happened for the first 6 months. The sites were all new. No one really knew who or what GoDaddy was when, you know, they were in Germany or whatever. It was just a brand that you kind of heard of. It wasn't until they started advertising in those countries where we actually started to get sales and rankings too, because the links started coming in. So, you know, I never saw a dip. I mean, there was somewhat of a dip when it came to like the help and support site because that had to move. But like, as far as like the new countries coming in, we didn't lose anything as far as visibility was concerned when we opened up those additional markets. So you would think that maybe that might be the case here, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
But what else do we have for these poor souls?
No, I think that's plenty. I mean, it's enough food for thought in terms of where things are going wrong. You know, compared to last week, it's a lot better in terms of how they're handling the day-to-day. You know, they're on top of which pages are breaking. Their structure doesn't look bad. It just seems a little bit funky, and there's a lot of improvements that could be made.
Yeah.
But it's clearly an act of love.
I think for me, the top takeaways are fix international, get it all under one roof, and then fix all of this UGC data that you guys have. Like, you're paying for it with Bazaar Voice, and it's a great service. Like, go the extra step and get that UGC content like in the page and not just as a script. There's so much content in there for them. It's pretty sad.
And let us know for upcoming weeks if there's a site that you want us to poke around and play with.
Yep,
that's the best way to let us get it on air, because we just pick this stuff out of a hat sometimes. Like, what do you want to do? Well, I'm looking at my phone. This is an Otterbox, right? Yep, we're going to do Otterbox. So let us know. Oh,
look, Robin has a question. Go ahead, Robin. Go ahead and ask the question about rebranding. We'll wait for her to type. She's probably screaming, I told you I would. No. Robin's very nice. And local.
Was there a rebrand at some point?
I don't know. Well, we're gonna find out depending on how fast she types.
I know I had an Otterbox Defender, and I had the Otterbox Portfolio, or whatever the heck it's called. I've had that twice. Was it something else? All right.
Let's see. Here it is. You want to read it?
Sure. If a brand is rebranding and pivoting to a slightly new demo with overlapping audience, the old site is not getting a lot of traffic and has not been well maintained. Would a pop-up and redirect be sufficient? Ooh, I did this. Well, okay. So when we converged Odesk and Elance into Upwork, we had to play with a lot of that pivoting. What we did is we set up the page level redirects for the most massive stuff, and we canonicaled the rest to kind of capture the old brand, because the mistake that can happen sometimes is when you're doing that cutover, you want there to be a lot of press coming out about the new brand, linking in directly to the new brand, getting a lot of attention to the new brand. For that type of migration, we did the main category pages were just straight redirected over. But then a lot of the other smaller pages, there was so much, there was millions of pages at that point. We set up canonicals first because we wanted to make sure that we weren't doing redirects to like broken pages, which was a problem for this particular company in the past. So we had canonicals on those. Once the canonicals were recognized, then we started doing the redirects after the fact. You know who did a really good presentation on this, Robin, is Dennis G. He did this when he was at Fanatics. And so they were handling something like 100 different large branded migrations. So he studied and did his own theses of, what's going to work faster? Is it going to be canonicaling everything? Is it going to be redirecting everything? Is it going to be a mixture? He found ultimately that redirection was the best overall path, I believe. I could see if I could dig that presentation out and hand it over to you, because I know you pop into our happy hours. I'll try to dig that up before then.
Yeah, and I'll say this to you. I have a company that I'm working with right now, and they're a fairly large brand. You would definitely know who they are. And they purchased some websites, services that they want to bring under their roof. But for right now, they're trying to figure out what's the best way to gracefully do this. And what they're doing is exactly kind of like what Joe is saying, which is to do the canonical. So they're canonicaling the site that they purchased, and they're pointing that over to their site where they've built these new pages. So the pages on the site that they purchased won't rank, but it will rank their site for whatever those keywords are. So if it was like, I'll just throw out a whatever, like Chicago DUI lawyer, it's not going to show the lawyer site. It's going to show theirs instead. So it does work. You can switch the rankings, which is nice, and kind of play with some things, but eventually you will have to do the redirect. It's inevitable. So whether you want to do it today or tomorrow, it's up to you, but you will have to do it at some point in time, just to retain all of the link equity. But at least you can start to play with the traffic with the canonicals, and it does help. And I haven't seen a penalty come across for that, or Google slapping your hands, but
no, they didn't. Although at the same time, though, if there's a lot of pages involved, dropping them a line does help. Letting them know that there's going to be a massive redirect, because they can sometimes not necessarily put it in the penalty box, but they kind of sandbox things, especially like if you're throwing it to a brand new domain, that looks a little weird. Yeah. If you're letting them know, hey, there's a migration under play, hit up Mueller on Twitter and let him know, and he'll connect you to the right team.
Hopefully. Or he'll ignore you.
If it's a big brand, he will.
He's a busy guy. We don't blame him. Cool. Well, that's kind of like what we have for this Tech Tuesday. Once again, thank you everyone that joined us. Robin, thank you for your questions. We always appreciate it. Like Joe said, if you do have a domain that you'd like us to review, please put it in the comment box below, or shoot us an email, or reach out on the DMO. If you haven't joined the DMO, once again, it's only $4, and it's $5 a month. I mean, come on, we made it ridiculously affordable for everyone. So
$5 a month, you could sponsor this.
It's like, do I go to do I go to Taco Bell breakfast and get the breakfast crunch wrap this month, or do I join 2,000 other digital marketers? It's a huge toss-up for me because I love that breakfast crunch wrap. It's so amazing. But I think in this case, I would definitely go for the DMO. There's way more fun to be had. So anyways, thank you guys once again for joining us. Joe, always a pleasure. I will see you soon, I'm sure. But thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
See you next week. Bye.